Judy Garland. Judy Garland, the girl with the golden voice who made the world believe in dreams beyond the rainbow. From The Wizard of Oz to her iconic musicals, she was the darling of Hollywood's golden age. Her smile lit up the screen, and her voice touched hearts worldwide. But behind that radiant smile was a woman trapped in a cycle of pain and addiction. Born Frances Ethel Gum, Judy was pushed into showbiz at an early age. MGM saw her talent, but didn't see her as beautiful. To maintain her girl-next-door image, the studio controlled every aspect of her life. She was given pills to keep her energy high during grueling film schedules, and then more pills to help her sleep. This toxic cycle of uppers and downers became her lifelong curse. Despite her immense talent, Judy's self-esteem was shattered. She was told she wasn't pretty enough, thin enough, or good enough. These insecurities drove her deeper into addiction. Pills and alcohol became her escape from the pressures of fame and her broken personal life. Her marriages crumbled, and financial troubles haunted her despite her legendary status. On June 22, 1969, Judy Garland was found dead from an accidental overdose at the age of 47. The world lost a star, but the truth was, Judy had been fading long before that. Her story isn't just about a Hollywood legend. It's about a woman who gave the world joy while silently battling her own sorrows. Montgomery Clift. Montgomery Clift was the epitome of Hollywood's golden boy, handsome, talented, and deeply sensitive. Starring in classics like A Place in the Sun and From Here to Eternity, he was celebrated for his raw, emotional performances. He was one of the first method actors, bringing a level of vulnerability and depth that captivated audiences. But beneath his brooding charm was a man tormented by inner demons. Clift struggled with his identity in an era when being different was unacceptable. The pressures of hiding his true self weighed heavily on him, leading to profound loneliness and emotional pain. To cope, he turned to alcohol and pills, seeking solace in substances that would eventually consume him. In 1956, a near-fatal car accident changed his life forever. His face was severely disfigured, requiring extensive plastic surgery. Though he continued to work, the accident left him physically and emotionally scarred. The once vibrant actor became a shadow of himself, haunted by his altered appearance and the pain it brought. His addiction worsened as he tried to numb the physical and emotional agony. On July 23, 1966, at just 45 years old, Montgomery Clift died of a heart attack, a tragic end to what Elizabeth Taylor called the longest suicide in history. His story is one of immense talent and heartbreaking vulnerability, a man whose emotional wounds ran deeper than any role he ever played. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was the ultimate Hollywood adventurer. With his devilish charm, rugged good looks, and charismatic swagger, he became the king of swashbuckling films like Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood. Women adored him, and men wanted to be him. But behind the roguish grin was a man running from his own demons. Born in Australia, Flynn's rebellious spirit was evident from a young age. He lived a life of excess, always chasing excitement. In Hollywood, his off-screen persona as a playboy matched his on-screen heroics. He threw lavish parties, drank excessively, and romanced countless women. His wild lifestyle quickly spiraled out of control, fueled by alcohol, drugs, and scandal. In 1942, Flynn's image took a massive hit when he was accused of statutory rape. Although acquitted, the scandal haunted him, leading to a career decline and public shame. To cope, he turned to even more alcohol and drugs, using them to escape his crumbling world. His addictions worsened, impacting his health and work. Once known for his athleticism and charm, Flynn aged rapidly, his face showing the toll of his hard living. By the time he was 50, Errol Flynn was a shadow of his former self, his body ravaged by years of abuse. On October 14, 1959, he died of a heart attack. The coroner noted his body was so worn down, he looked decades older. Errol Flynn's story is a cautionary tale of fame, excess, and the price of living too fast. Alma Rubens. Alma Rubens was the epitome of beauty and grace during the silent film era. With her mesmerizing eyes and captivating presence, she enchanted audiences in films like The Half-Breed and The Valley of the Moon. Her career was on a meteoric rise, and she was hailed as one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood. But behind the glamorous image was a woman trapped in a battle with addiction that would ultimately destroy her. Born to a modest family, Alma longed for love and acceptance. Hollywood offered her fame and adoration, but the pressures of the industry were overwhelming. To cope with the demands of her career and personal insecurities, she began using morphine, introduced to her as a painkiller. What started as a remedy soon became an escape. Her addiction grew stronger, leading her to cocaine and heroin. By the late 1920s, Alma's drug dependence spiraled out of control. She became unreliable on set, leading to her being blacklisted in Hollywood. Her once bright star faded as rumors of her addiction spread. The studios that once celebrated her beauty turned their backs, leaving her isolated and desperate. Alma faced multiple arrests for drug possession, and was even confined to mental institutions, where she endured harsh treatments. On January 22, 1931, at just 33 years old, Alma Rubens died from pneumonia, her body weakened by years of substance abuse. Her tragic story is a haunting reminder of Hollywood's dark side, a place where dreams are made and broken just as easily. Alma Rubens was more than just a silent film beauty. She was a woman lost in a world that never truly understood her pain. Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum was the ultimate Hollywood bad boy. With his rugged good looks, laid-back demeanor, and sleepy eyes, he became a film noir icon, starring in classics like Out of the Past and Night of the Hunter. Known for his anti-hero roles and effortless coolness, Mitchum embodied the image of a rebel. But his tough guy persona wasn't just an act. It was a reflection of a man battling his own inner chaos. Mitchum's childhood was turbulent. His father died when he was just 2, leaving his family in poverty. He became a drifter at a young age, living on the streets, hopping freight trains, and getting into trouble. This rough start hardened him, but it also left emotional scars. As he climbed the ranks of Hollywood, he turned to alcohol and marijuana to escape his past and numb his pain. In 1948, Mitchum's rebellious image became all too real when he was arrested for marijuana possession, a scandal that rocked Hollywood. The media frenzy threatened to end his career, but his "I don't care" attitude only added to his mystique. However, behind the bravado, Mitchum struggled with feelings of alienation and emptiness. He drank heavily, often showing up on set hungover, his personal demons never far behind. Despite his success, Mitchum felt trapped by his public image. He once famously said, "I have 2 acting styles, with and without a horse." Beneath the sarcasm was a man disillusioned with fame and haunted by his past. On July 1, 1997, he died of lung cancer, leaving behind a legacy of unforgettable performances. Robert Mitchum was more than just a Hollywood rebel. He was a complex soul searching for peace in a world that only saw his. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart was the embodiment of cool. With his gravelly voice, piercing gaze, and unmatched charisma, he became Hollywood's greatest tough guy. From Casablanca to The Maltese Falcon, his performances were iconic, making him a legend of the silver screen. But behind the tough exterior was a man haunted by loneliness and inner turmoil, leading him down a path of self-destruction. Born to a wealthy but emotionally distant family, Bogart struggled with feelings of inadequacy. His parents were cold and demanding, showing little affection. This emotional void shaped him into a guarded, rebellious young man. After a brief stint in the Navy, he turned to acting but struggled for years before finding success. When fame finally came, so did the pressures that accompanied it. Bogart found solace in alcohol, a habit that grew over the years. His hard-drinking lifestyle became as legendary as his film roles. On set and off, he was rarely seen without a drink in hand. The alcohol numbed his pain and helped him maintain his tough guy image, but it also created a rift in his personal life. His first 3 marriages failed, and his volatile temper often alienated those closest to him. It wasn't until he met Lauren Bacall that he found true love, but even that happiness was short-lived. Years of heavy drinking and smoking took a toll on his health. In 1957, at the age of 57, Bogart died of esophageal cancer. The man who played so many heroes died feeling vulnerable and alone. Humphrey Bogart's story is more than just Hollywood glamour. It's the tale of a man who couldn't outrun his own demons, no matter how tough he seemed. Bela Lugosi. Bela Lugosi was the face of horror. With his haunting eyes, hypnotic voice, and chilling presence, he brought Dracula to life like no one else could. His performance in the 1931 classic defined the vampire genre, making him an icon of horror. But behind the cape and fangs was a man trapped by his own creation, battling addiction and despair. Born Bela Ferenc Deja Blasco in Hungary, Lugosi was a respected stage actor before coming to Hollywood. His portrayal of Dracula on Broadway was so captivating that Universal Pictures cast him in the film, making him an overnight sensation. But success came at a price. Typecast as the villain, he struggled to find roles beyond horror. As his career declined, his personal life unraveled. To cope with chronic pain from war injuries and the physical demands of his roles, Lugosi turned to morphine. What began as pain management spiraled into a full-blown addiction. As Hollywood moved on to newer stars, he was left behind, jobless and struggling with substance abuse. His once prominent career dwindled to low-budget horror films, often working alongside director Ed Wood, whose movies were mocked as the worst of all time. Financially ruined and emotionally shattered, Lugosi's addiction worsened. In 1955, he became one of the first Hollywood stars to publicly seek treatment, bravely admitting his dependency. But the damage was done. On August 16, 1956, Bela Lugosi died of a heart attack at 73, penniless and forgotten by the industry he once ruled. He was buried wearing his Dracula cape, a haunting reminder of the role that made and destroyed him. Bela Lugosi's story is one of brilliance and tragedy, a man who gave the world nightmares while living his own. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was the ultimate Hollywood icon. With her platinum blonde hair, seductive smile, and captivating charisma, she became the world's most desired woman. Starring in classics like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Some Like It Hot, she was the embodiment of beauty and glamour. But behind the dazzling image was a fragile soul, haunted by insecurity and loneliness. Born Norma Jean Mortensen, Marilyn's childhood was filled with instability. Raised in foster homes and orphanages, she never knew her father, and her mother battled mental illness. The need for love and acceptance followed her into adulthood, shaping her into the vulnerable woman behind the superstar. To escape her painful past, she reinvented herself, becoming Marilyn Monroe, a persona as glamorous as it was tragic. Hollywood adored Marilyn, but it also exploited her. Typecast as the dumb blonde, she longed to be taken seriously as an actress. The pressures of fame, failed marriages, and constant scrutiny weighed heavily on her. To cope, she turned to prescription pills, barbiturates to sleep, stimulants to stay awake. Her dependency grew as her emotional struggles deepened. By the early 1960s, Marilyn was spiraling out of control. Her professional reputation suffered due to erratic behavior, and her personal life was in turmoil. On August 5, 1962, she was found dead at the age of 36 from an overdose of sleeping pills. Officially ruled a probable suicide, her death remains shrouded in mystery and speculation. Marilyn Monroe was more than just a sex symbol. She was a woman searching for love and acceptance in a world that only saw her as an object of desire. Her tragic end serves as a haunting reminder of the price of fame. Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin was one of the greatest comedic talents the world has ever known. With his signature bowler hat, cane, and unforgettable mustache, he became an international icon through characters like the Tramp. His silent films, including City Lights and Modern Times, made audiences laugh while highlighting deep social issues. But behind the laughter was a man burdened by inner turmoil and controversy. Born into poverty in London, Chaplin faced hardship from an early age. His father abandoned the family, and his mother struggled with mental illness, leading to her institutionalization. These painful experiences shaped Chaplin's outlook on life and inspired the pathos in his comedy. But they also left him with emotional scars he could never fully heal. As he rose to fame in Hollywood, Chaplin became known for his perfectionism and control over his films. But his personal life was far more chaotic. He had multiple tumultuous marriages, often scandalized by his relationships with much younger women. These scandals were amplified by political controversy, as his outspoken views on social justice and criticism of capitalism led to accusations of communism during the Red Scare. To escape the mounting pressures, Chaplin turned to alcohol and developed a reputation for being difficult to work with. In 1952, amid political backlash, he was exiled from the United States, forcing him to live in Switzerland. Isolated from Hollywood and haunted by his past, he struggled with depression and a sense of betrayal. Charlie Chaplin died on Christmas Day in 1977, leaving behind a legacy of laughter tinged with melancholy. The man who brought joy to millions was, in many ways, the saddest clown of them all. His story is one of brilliance, controversy, and the heavy price of genius. Fatty Arbuckle. Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle was once the most beloved comedic star of the silent film era. With his cherubic face, playful humor, and remarkable physical agility, he became one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors, rivaling even Charlie Chaplin. Audiences adored his slapstick comedy, and he was a pioneer in the art of visual gags. But his career and life were shattered by scandal and addiction, leading to one of the most tragic downfalls in Hollywood history. Born into poverty, Arbuckle's childhood was harsh. Mocked for his weight and neglected by his father, he found solace in performing. His natural talent for comedy propelled him to vaudeville and then to Hollywood, where he became an overnight sensation. But fame brought pressure, and Arbuckle turned to alcohol to cope with the demands of stardom and the expectations placed upon him. In 1921, his world came crashing down when he was accused of the rape and manslaughter of actress Virginia Rappe during a wild party. Although he was acquitted after 3 trials, the scandal destroyed his career and reputation. The public turned against him, and his films were banned. Shunned by Hollywood, Arbuckle struggled to find work and sank into deep depression. Haunted by disgrace, he turned to alcohol even more heavily, drowning his sorrows in a bottle. He made a brief comeback under a pseudonym, directing films, but the pain of his public humiliation never left him. On June 29, 1933, at the age of 46, Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle died of a heart attack, just as he was about to sign a new contract for a comeback in comedy. Fatty Arbuckle's story is one of laughter lost to scandal, addiction, and tragedy. He was a man who brought joy to millions, but died broken and forgotten, a cautionary tale of how quickly fame can turn to infamy.